Hello there, welcome to my channel. My name is Doug and I'm back with another fountain pen video. Today I'm going to showcase a little venture that my son and I have started called Ink Buddy. It started when I needed something to keep my ink sample vials from tipping over when I was trying to fill a pen from them. My son has a 3D printing business where he designs, prints, and sells cosplay paraphernalia on Etsy, and that store is called Allied Armorers. I asked him if he could print something for me if I sent him a design. He agreed, so I got busy in Tinkercad designing a simple base stand for my plastic ink vials. And here it is here. It's just a simple shape, a cylinder, tube, and a flat base, and it fits standard plastic ink vials. It was so useful that I thought that I probably needed one for my Robert Oster bottles, which are very tippy, so I did one of those. And then I thought I needed a stand to take care of a lot of my different ink vials. So it just kept on going from there. My son James offered to sell the items on his Etsy store, and I came up with the name Ink Buddy because, well, I'm Canadian, buddy.
I'm not your buddy, friend. He's not your friend, guy. I'm not your guy, buddy. He's not your buddy, friend. I'm not your friend, guy.
I've got quite a few items in the Ink Buddy line, so join me as I show you each of the Ink Buddies we have for sale right now. I thought inquiring minds might like to see how your Ink Buddy product is 3D printed. So I'm here in my son James's 3D printing workshop. This is James, my son, and he's going to show us how the different operations work for the different products. I should explain that we're both in our Calgary Flames uniform because tonight is game one of the Tonight is game one of the Battle of Alberta against the evil and despicable Edmonton Oilers. And so after we do all this, we're going to go have some dinner, and then we're going to watch the Flames win. So
you're buying, right?
I'm buying. So thanks for doing this, James, and I'll see you on the other side of the camera. Okay, I want you to show and explain, if you will, the process involved in doing a print of one of the Ink Buddies. For example, if someone orders an Ink Buddy bottle stabilizer or the Ferris wheel press bottle stabilizer, what machine would do that and how does it work?
Sure. Typically that would be on one of our smaller machines. So we got a big one running here doing something else. We can talk about that in a minute if you like. But we'd come over to one of these guys. I've got a couple of these in various states of disrepair. But this would be one of our FDM printers using PLA. So for, let's say, an Ink Buddy Oster, which we've actually got an order for. So I would preheat, which I've already done, and then select our Oster, and then come over to the printer, and then use a glue stick just to make sure that the first couple of layers will stay down. So I'm going to hit print on this file. Right, so it's X, Y, Z. So these two are Creality Ender 3s. Both of them are, all of these printers are FDM or Cartesian printers.
And what's the bigger one in the corner?
The bigger one in the corner, also a FDM Cartesian. It's also Creality, but this is the CR10S. This guy, also Creality, funny enough. This is the CR10S5. So this is what we use for our big cosplay pieces. We do a lot of helmets. Right now it's doing an armor piece for a suit of Halo armor.
Heats the filament, the plastic, and it lays it down on a layer in the shape that you need.
Exactly.
It up and keeps
Which if you come over here, here's a good example. So this is the Bowden tube setup. So it's coming through the extruder gear, runs through this tube down into the hot end. Yep. The hot end heats it up, melts it to heats it to a melting point. Right now we've got it at 225 degrees, and it'll do what's called a skirt. And that's basically, we use that to make sure everything is laying down properly, it's extruding properly, there's no clogs or anything like that.
What's this printing right now?
This is printing an Oster bottle stabilizer.
Okay.
About 2 hours and 15 minutes, that will be a completed Ink Buddy bottle stabilizer.
Oh good, we'll wait.
Yeah.
And what about clear resin printing? Is that different than the PLA?
It is, quite a bit actually. So with the FDM PLA prints, like we talked about, it melts a spool of filament, forces it down into a shape, basically, right, and does layers with it like that. Resin printing is quite a bit different. It uses liquid photo-curing resin, photopolymer resin, and UV light to make those layers. It does it sort of in reverse, but then you get a solid piece, or in some cases a clear piece. So this would be one of the red Ink Buddy vials.
And it's doing that right
It's doing that right now. So we've got a completed print here.
I had James actually start this print on the one on the left.
All right, so we're just going to change the resin here to a blue. We've got a couple of orders for ink vials. Pour some blue translucent resin into this tank. I've already cleaned off the build surface with a nice little flexible magnetic removable plate. No, I mean to
Have James's DNA.
it's more to keep the resin off of my hands and all that fun stuff. So we'll tighten that down. Ink Buddy stuff. This is, I think it's a CTB file. The other printers use G-code. There's my pen stuff. Once I've done one of these things, I tend to just keep it because, hey, it's working. So I'm just gonna use that. So we're printing a Ink Buddy sample vial stand. We have two types, the plastic size and the glass size, since they are rather different. So I've got one here, that's the plastic version, and then that's the glass version. There we go. The build surface is going down into the vat. Now under that vat is what they call FEP film. It's basically a very thin piece of plastic that covers an LCD screen. Under the LCD screen is a very bright UV light. The UV light cures the resin because it's photo curing resin. That's how it makes its shapes. So it will do a projection on that LCD screen of a very thin slice of the file,
Right.
or of the vial itself. So you'll actually see here what it's going to project as soon as it's down in there. You can see it's just about in the resin. There we go. So in the meantime, we'll just cover that up. We'll protect it from any excess UV because we don't want anything else to cure. And then we've got 3 hours to kill.
Cool.
Most of the Ink Buddy stuff, we actually tend to print it straight on that build surface like that with without much of this support in general, just because of its shape.
Right.
It's very easy to just have that stuck on the build surface and it just comes out like that. And then we put it in our UV drawer. So this was actually built by Curtis, who, little known fact, Curtis is actually my business partner.
Right.
So Curtis and I started 3D printing a number of years ago. He does a lot of our 3D modeling. All of the Ink Buddy stuff was modeled by Doug, but he does a lot of editing. He does printer maintenance when he's in town. He's often on tour, as a technician, so he's not around a whole lot, but he is a part of this, so we should definitely mention it. For example, he built this entire cabinet, and then we put it in the UV drawer. We're going to ignore that. And we got a little timer here. Turn that on. There we go.
Put them in the UV box and it cures.
It finishes the curing process. In this guy, there's an example of a finished print. You see all that excess resin that's actually pouring out of there right now. So that'll happen when you have particular shapes and gaps and things like that. Whoops. All right. That's the most mess I've ever made, I swear. So
It's the most science fiction thing I've ever seen, where this thing gets pulled up out of the resin in this shape. It's quite spectacular.
yeah, it's been going for almost half an hour.
Yeah.
But we'll take a wet sand 1000 grit, usually sand that down just to clean up as much as we can, and then give it a clear coat. So any of the resin stuff does get clear coated unless we want that haze look. We do have kyber crystals, things like that sometimes we like that look. But yeah, that's how it is. All right, so here's a couple of examples of things that we have printed. These guys are actually in our Etsy store. So these are lightsaber stands that hold kyber crystals from the Galaxy's Edge Savvy's workshop. So if anybody's been there, made your own lightsaber, and got all those extra crystals. So these guys are designed to hold your lightsaber and your extra crystals, and they actually light up. So Curtis designed a little LED board for us. So we've got LEDs in there with resistors, a little micro USB, and then there's a cover that goes over that. And there's that. There's your green, blue, purple, red, yellow, and white. And then the arms go on the ends, and the saber sits there, which I should have brought down. But we've got two different heights of those guys as well, if you want it up higher or lower. The original file was at an angle.
Yeah, you could
So
put
had
a tall one on one side and a short one on the other.
Exactly.
And have it angled.
Exactly, just like that.
Yeah. So you got big stuff too.
Yes.
Show me some of your big items.
Absolutely. All right. So here's an example of some of the bigger things that we do. Helmets, weapons, lots of cosplay stuff. So this is something that I printed actually a very long time ago, painted, and then took to a convention or two. Got a little magnet there to attach to your armor. Lots of Halo stuff, obviously. Kind of into that. We got some Mandalorian helmets.
So Mandalorian is on the left.
Mandalorians are on the left.
That's
So-
two of them right there.
So this one is the one that most people would recognize from the newest series.
Right.
I made the whole suit actually, sort of as a test for myself to see if I could get something like that finished in about a month. It's got a visor in there, it's got a microphone system, fans. The one on the far left is a custom request, was all custom requested. So the way I tend to do, where a lot of people tend to do cosplay armor, especially things that are supposed to look like they've been battle damaged, the first layer of paint, I always do a chrome. Right? That way, when you paint over it, you can chip away at it.
And you get the chrome metal underneath.
Exactly. Or you can use liquid mask. All of these scratches were I did it with an X-Acto knife.
Right.
You know, a little bit of foam inside there to protect your noggin. So this is the first Halo helmet that I made, all 3D printed. The visor was vacuum formed. It's got a little removable, like what would go around my neck.
Right.
It just magnetizes in there. This came with me to Los Angeles. So I went down with the 405th costuming, 405th Infantry Division costuming group, Halo costuming. We were invited to the premiere of the Halo TV series, so you can get a couple of good glimpses of me in this, answering questions, doing some cool stuff, and watching the show in Los Angeles a couple months ago. It was a ton of fun. Yeah. And then this, on the little stand here, is what I'm currently working on.
Work in progress.
So not quite finished yet. That needs to get glued into place. I've just clear coated it. It still needs some weathering. Obviously that needs to be glued in, and it needs its visor. But this is the Mark 7 from Halo Infinite. So I'm trying to get that ready for this weekend. Another rush job, because apparently I like to stress myself out.
Well, thanks for taking time out of your busy day to show us all of this.
No problem.
I know inquiring minds really appreciate it, and your dad does too.
You're welcome.
Thanks, James.
No problem.
Now let's look at the Ink Buddy items. So let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start.
Let's start at the very beginning.
If you use these little devils, you'll know what a potential disaster they are. They aren't designed for ink. I'm sure they've been adopted from the pharmaceutical industry as vials for all kinds of unspeakable things. So I used Tinkercad to make this stabilizer out of two simple shapes, a tube and a flat disc. James can print out simple PLA, but they look and feel a lot better in this translucent resin. It is available sized for either plastic or glass sample vials, and the PLA version is $4.04, and the resin version, like this one, is $12.12. All prices are in US dollars and don't include shipping. Just a note about shipping from Etsy. Etsy controls the shipping charges, so if you buy multiple items, Etsy charges you separate shipping on those items. However, James can combine the shipping and refund the difference, so don't worry about getting multiple shipping charges. I figured that if I had a little stabilizer for one vial, I could really use a tray that holds multiple vials. I know some people use test tube trays or even lipstick display holders, but I figured it would be fairly easy to make an Ink Buddy tray. So I designed this little 9-vial tray for simple desk storage, or even for laying out samples while you're doing your swatching. And then it follows that those with a huge number of samples will require some vial storage. So I designed a tray that holds 45 vials, and it's stackable with indents on the bottom of the tray to hold the tops of the vials in the 4 corners of the lower tray, so you can stack them on top of each other, and the whole thing ends up having a fairly small footprint. The 9-vial Ink Buddy desk stand is printed in PLA and sized for either glass or plastic vials for $12.12, where the 45-vial stackable tray is printed in PLA and sized for either glass or plastic vials for $20.12. Now, some ink companies figured that fountain pen ink enthusiasts love the thrill of filling their pens from bottles designed to be as unstable as the ink sample vials, and so they made their bottles to be as unstable as one of Johnny Depp's girlfriends. So they're on the threshold of spilling their contents and making a big mess. So I thought we should have an Ink Buddy bottle stabilizer for those Weeble-like bottles as well. The worst bottle of ink on the market right now, in my opinion, is the Ferris Wheel Press 38 milliliter bottle. The ink itself is marvelous, but this bottle just plain sucks.
Canada sucks.
Not only does it barely stand on its own outside of the box, it has a tiny little neck that won't accommodate a pen larger than a Metropolitan. I exaggerate for effect, of course, but it's really narrow. So I've designed an Ink Buddy stabilizer for that ink bottle. And I've designed stabilizers for the Robert Oster 50 milliliter bottles, which are really tippy. The Diamine 30 milliliter plastic bottles, which are very tippy, and the Noodler's 3-ounce bottles. The Robert Oster and the Diamine bottle stabilizers are available in resin for $16.16 or PLA for $4.14. The Noodler's and the Ferris Wheel Press stabilizers are only available in PLA for $8.08 and $6.46 respectively. Then I figured people might want a pen stand that would accommodate an ink bottle as well. So I made a desk cube that had space for a Robert Oster bottle and 4 pens. You can get this Ink Buddy cube stand in PLA for $6.16 in 3 variations. This one with room for the Robert Oster bottle and 4 pens, or one with room for 6 pens. This one is my wife's. Or one for 9 pens. We haven't actually printed one of those yet because we haven't sold one. Then I also tried my hand at making what I call an ink scrooge. This one is for a Noodler's bottle and will allow you to get your ink up higher in this very tall bottle. You just put the ink scrooge inside the bottle, tip the bottle upside down. You know, of course, you have to put the lid on first. Common sense. And then take the lid off, and you've got ink welled up inside the ink scrooge to be able to get at easier with your pen. The Ink Buddy ink scrooge is $4.85. If you have any suggestions for an Ink Buddy project my simple CAD skills could tackle, let me know in the comments. If I've missed a tippy ink bottle that you'd love to have an Ink Buddy stabilizer for, let me know. And there you have it. Thanks go out to my son James for the interview and the demonstration. All proceeds of Ink Buddy sales go to James and his Etsy store, Allied Armorers. I'll give you the link in the description. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell to get instant notifications whenever a new video is posted. And please look in the description for a link to Gold Spot Pens, as I am now an affiliate of the online store, and when you shop at Gold Spot, you'll be supporting my channel as well at no extra cost to you. You can also join as a member of my channel for only 99 cents a month, and I guarantee I'll answer your comments in the comment section. You'll get cool emojis, badges, and sneak peek unboxing videos as well. And that just leaves it for me to say, thank you for watching. And that's all she wrote.
I made this.